on our list of dynamic surgeons is Dr. Debashish Datta. You could now share, Doctor. Sorry. Consultant cataract cornea, and is really going to set us off thinking differently in this challenging moment. And very enjoyable videos this far, lot of learning. So let's hear.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Chitra, and the entire ARC team for including me. And I'm just learning all the way through. So many new things are coming up. I would just like to share my video as a bit contents in the audio and music. I will speak along with. Hope that's okay.
Could you be louder?
Is it okay?
Two nuclear sclerosis, and there is zonnular laxity of 180 degrees. Fundus is normal. Intraocular pressure is normal.
There is phacodonosis on alpha blockers.
Anterior chamber was deepened with high molecular weight viscoelastics, and then 180 degrees zonnular laxity was evident. It was difficult to initiate the capsular exits, and capsular folds were evident.
As you can see, there are capsular folds, and there is a lot much of but it is not absolutely subluxated.
Rhexis was completed carefully. Two capsular hooks were placed in close proximity.
These are the Chang modified capsular MST hooks in the, and there it goes, effect of alpha agonists. A gentle flicker notification. And as one by one,
slow motion flicker notification was done.
Pi by pi, it is taken out. Slow motion flicker notification. It is not a very hard cataract though. And at some point, CTR has to be placed. When do we place it? Very slow. Enough of phaco by manual.
The tension ring was placed in the bag.
Care is taken that we preserve the intact areas, so, and we do not disturb the somewhat intact zonules. The bag CTR is placed inside the bag. And now
after the hydrophobic acrylic eyewear
in the bag. So far, so good. Nothing new. It's all okay. We do it day in and day out. Everybody of us.
Rhexis was enlarged a little for proper centration of the optic.
Because we want an even overlap all the way on the optic.
As the iris was retracted, a large nuclear fragment was discovered lying in the anterior vitreous just beyond the posterior capsule.
Now what do we do? See what it is.
The CTR in the bag lying with the haptic could be seen. An iris hook was used to
meeting
make room inside the capsular bag.
Improvise.
Capsular hooks were
I think you should give live commentary. We are not able to hear anything.
Trypan glue was used to stain the capsule and the bag.
Debashish, are you able to hear? Debashish.
Do I talk?
You talk.
You talk.
Okay. I'll do that.
Switch off, mute your video,
Pause it, mute it, and then you continue talking.
Okay.
Yes.
Mute. How do I mute the video? I think that's put the volume down.
Can you put the volume to zero of your video? Put the volume to zero.
On the laptop, yeah.
Yes, I'll do that. Now,
the CTR in the bag.
The CTR is to be
Sir,
seen in
you
the
have
bag.
to click on the speaker icon. There is a speaker icon within the video where is 100% on the right side below the video. Just make it zero. Zero.
Okay, I've done it.
Now you speak, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for helping me out. So far, so good. A hydrophobic acrylic lens is placed in the bag. Just as usual, put it inside the capsular bag, place it comfortably. And something is peeping out. I just enlarged the capsular rhexis margin properly for a proper overlap over the optic edges. But there's something is peeping. As I remove those capsular hooks, there's something peeping out. What it is? There's a whole chunk of nucleus, epinucleus, so to say, just beyond the capsular bag, posterior capsule in the anterior vitreous. So what to do now? Let's first visualize, replace the capsular hooks as iris hooks. So it's a bag complex with the CTR, with the IOL. Now what to do? Improvise. So I don't know what to do now. So I just try to make some room inside the capsular bag to see what it is. Yes, my PC is intact. And I have just put aside the optic to make room. Now how to get it out? I send it to my vitreous colleagues to do an anterior vitrectomy and remove it. Even if I try to do a partial vitrectomy, there's every chance that it may go down. I may lose it to the posterior vitreous and nothing I can do. So I just tried my luck, and I did not know that I can stain the posterior capsule with trypan blue, but wanted to try my luck here, having no knowledge whether it does or not. So I put in trypan blue in the capsular bag, and I could see it has taken up a little bit of stain. So I fashion a small rhexis as gently as I can, and there goes the posterior capsular rhexis. And well, I could have used a cutter, but somehow I did not dare. I just nudged out as much of vitreous fragment, the nuclear fragments from the anterior vitreous as I can do, and visco express it out with the help of spatula guiding it. Now it is on the bit of alpha agonist. There's every tendency for the iris to come out. So that's how I just visco express it very carefully. And maybe there are an iota of epinucleus still in the anterior vitreous, but that's all I can do to save the situation. And now I remove the MST capsular hooks and replace the iris and check the reposition the optic properly, because and reposition the iris also. So there will be some amount of iris atrophy. I'll be inviting iatrogenic iris atrophy. And remaining cortical material, visco and are removed by aspiration only. And I just tighten the anterior cuffs. I check for any vitreous in the anterior chamber by triamcinolone acetonide, which I always do. Thank you so much.
Very innovative, brilliant video. Can you stop sharing, Dr. Debashish?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was a truly different thought process entirely. Now, the question which I have is that, like very basic, it's not related to the challenge which you did. Do you have in mind, like how many capsular hooks you would use based on the amount of clock hours of zonular dialysis, or it is just an impression by which you do?
To be truthful, it is the impression and amount of subluxation and the degree of phacodonesis that, what suffices. I will use the minimum number, just the number of hooks that suffices to keep it in place so that I can proceed without causing any, what is comfortable for the surgery to go through. That's all.
This was a traumatic cataract, so a CTR was sufficient. Would you have thought of, if it was a progressive case of zonular weakness, what would you have done then?
Definitely some sort of scleral fixation has to be done, because if it would have been a progressive situation like, those connective tissue disorders associated with ectopia lentis or something like that, or pseudo exfoliation, so to say. So then I would have definitely fixed it up with the sclera by some means, maybe Ahmed segment or Sioni or a suitable device.
Dr. Ramurthy, Dr. Partha, Dr. Dhami, any of you can say, or all three of you can tell in turns, would you have done what he did, thought of doing that posterior capsulorhexis and managing it, or do you agree with him? Was it, do we lose anything at all by doing anyway? It's just a PCC.
Oh, he just got away with what he did. The excellent surgery and superb demonstration of surgical skills. but I wouldn't have done what he did. Obviously, it's already a traumatic cataract, subluxated lens. They had to take the support of various things to place the lens in place. And I don't know why you guys don't want to give some work to your VR colleagues. If you, I think you can do a pars plana vitrectomy yourself. And actually, when I lose the vitreous, it's not that I always make a pars plana incision. I often handle it from the anterior route. But at the same time, this is a situation where you have an intact capsular bag. The nucleus has obviously gone through some defect into the nucleus or cortical fragment. It's floating in the anterior vitreous. So obviously, I would have gone through a pars plana incision if I am confident of doing it. And you are from an institution where there are multiple VR colleagues. There's not even a great hurry to do this. It could even be done subsequently or in the same sitting, making a pars plana incision and then removing the fragment without compromising the integrity of the capsule. And though you manage to tease out the lens material, there is considerable amount of vitreous traction that would have happened at that time because there was no cutting that was happening. It was just bringing the lens elements outside. And the kind of little damage to the iris, etc., that was there could have all been the prolapse of the iris, could all have been avoided if only that last piece, which was there in the anterior vitreous, was handled through a pars plana incision rather trying to do it from the anterior route, which you did very nicely.
No, you are absolutely right, sir. I just got away with it. It was not perhaps 100% correct way to do it, but somehow at that point of time we did, and that particular center, there was no vitreous in the backup. Anyway, it could have been sent to my vitreous fellow, but I just somehow got away with it.
Brilliant way of doing it.
Especially in the presence of the CTR. There was also a CTR in place.
Doing a posterior rexis with the CTR in place should not be done. Should not be done.
Exactly. So in presence of a PC rent, you would not put a CTR. So now you had a CTR in place. So with a rent, if it would have extended, then probably it could have compromised the entire capsular bag integrity.
And
very daring surgery and
not daring surgery, madam. I have one question. Can anybody explain to me how it went through what gap?
Because area of zonular weakness.
Zonular dialysis.
Yes.
But as you, madam, said that I put those capsular hooks right at the beginning before starting the film. Yes, it can could have gone through some other opening.
Before you put in the CTR, it must have gone in.
Yes.
Even in absolutely normal eyes, sometimes you find small cortical fragments floating in the anterior vitreous where you do not really find any zonular weakness. So there is obviously some areas from which it can seep in.
Right.
So anyway,
First thing that I have to tell Devashish, display of such a fantastic surgery and you're trying to be apologetic. Even to Dr. Ramamurthy sir, not at all. You stick to your guns. You stick to your guns.
I meddled with the vitreous. I meddled with the anterior vitreous, which I should not have done.
It was not to be a court martial. This is teaching video. But it was brilliant, Devashish.
You did it extremely well, and fashioning that small rexis, posterior rexis, peripherally definitely is a great intervention, which only a very experienced surgeon can do. What I have done a few times when such a particle has gone into the anterior vitreous is after placing the lens, I make a small stab incision with the MVR knife, and with the vitrector take off the small particle. Most of the time it is possible. If the vitreous is not liquefied, it is possible. But if it is a very liquid vitreous, it will just fall into the posterior cavity.
To the learned teachers, sir, it was epinucleus. It was not a hard chunk of nucleus. What might have happened if I have left it just like that? It would have in due course of time invited some uveitis, maybe. And
raised inflammation, raise in intraocular pressure. Most importantly, patient being bothered by floaters for a persistently long time. So those were the days when we used to leave behind small chunks of cortex in the vitreous cavity, hoping that nature will take care of it. But in today's world of the way VR surgery is, the way it's so simple, sutureless VR surgery, if you have access to it, go ahead and use their services so that you leave behind the patient without any of this junk.
Anyway, amazing video, Dr. Devashish. So just stay on. We'll go on to our next very interesting video.